Hello, my pretties. How are you guys today? It's Wednesday. It's December 11th. It's been exactly a month since what? Since the day that Hannah was picking up her luggage at the LAX. And then it wasn't until the 12th that she went over to Mexico. So a month from tomorrow. So I am very curious what other people's thoughts are that two of the most high profile true crime cases right now, Hannah and Luigi, they're both from Hawaii. Like, what is up with that? Coincidence or conspiracy? Um, Thank you so much for joining me. I am going to get started. Please hit the like button if you don't mind. And my hair's doing some funny stuff. So I do have a hat on standby if necessary. Here, if I just turn like that might be better. I don't know. Hit your subscribe button if you're not subscribed. If you are subscribed, please make sure that you still are, because sometimes people get unsubscribed unwittingly for whatever reason. Share a video of mine if you like, and turn on your notification bell to ring if you want to be notified when I schedule a live or when I drop a video. So my brain is just swimming all over the place. I have been following the P. Diddy Jay-Z case. I've been following the Luigi case, the guy who shot the CEO, who was apprehended the day before yesterday. Brian somebody from United Behavioral Healthcare. Is that bad? They can't remember his name. Anna Bees, hello, my dear. I hope everyone is having a good day. Well, I have 3 likes and only 1 watching. No, 3 watching. So, yeah, thanks, you guys. Thanks for everybody hitting the like button. That's awesome to get all the way across the boards. So, both Hannah and Luigi are from Hawaii. I don't know. This Luigi guy, everybody on the internet is just blown away with how ripped he is, right? It's so weird that people talk about that. And yet they don't talk about how pretty all these females are that seem to be getting unalived by their douchebag boyfriends that are like so not pretty. Is Hannah another case like Gabby Petito, Shanann Watts, so many others? I mean, even Micah Miller fits into this category, if you ask me. These amazing looking women who hook up with these not so amazing guys, and maybe they don't care about looks, but the personalities seem to be worse than a bag of gravel, too. Bag of scum, shall I say. And it just doesn't end well. It's like that whole thing, like, when somebody's out of your league, so to speak, when these women are dating men that are not in their league, it just doesn't end well. And a lot of times it seems like the men get very possessive and they freak out. They lose their crap. Anyway, let me do my thing. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All my videos are made for YouTube. I have so many friends in here today, you guys. I'm so happy. Bex and Annabees and Ninja True Crime. Thank you so much. I love it. So yeah, yesterday's video was kind of weird because the chat was so slow, and I was like, "What is going on?" I hadn't even realized at that point that the video from the day before yesterday, that live, has been raking in the views. Like, I have no idea why. Like, is that just dumb luck? Is it something that a lot of people are sharing because there's something in it that they found interesting? I don't know. It's hard to try to break it down into a science. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, right, Ninja? I just woke up and you're live, just gonna lurk. Too early to function yet. Well, thank you kindly. And thank you for all your deep dive into the Maddie Soto case. I can't imagine how you can stomach it and how you can sleep. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed that you can focus on all that and still be as level-headed as you are. And I've been wanting to ask you, but you don't have to answer. The answer is always in the question, right? Always. Are you some kind of an attorney or something? Like, you just seem so well trained, and I'm really curious. Like, did you work as a paralegal? Because I get the idea that you're retired now, but I don't know. I might be incorrect. So, Jackie Bushable, lovely to see all of you. So, what in the world? Let's just jump all over the place. So I started this, I always like title my videos at the beginning before I start them with something that might very well end up getting completely scrapped and rehashed. But I titled it something to the effect of having a brain thought, because those happen, and that's what I try to build my videos on, is the brain thoughts, if and when they happen. But also that Raygun can sue Luigi because he's doing this, like he's doing the kangaroo in the picture that I used for the profile picture. And she said she's going to trademark all of her moves and she's going to sue everybody. So that's why I was saying a couple days ago, like, you better watch out. Don't you try doing the sprinkler or the windshield wiper or a somersault. I mean, she's got those moves. Those are hers. So anyway, that whole thing transpired because a comedian was doing Raygun the musical, and she got a cease and desist order, which is hilarious. Just a really small comedian too, not anybody with a high profile. So Anna B says, I agree with Jazz Ninja. You're doing a great job on the Maddie Soto case. Yeah, you are. That's so appreciated. The Raygun is so stupid, and it's just really pathetic. Like, why can't she just walk away? Just walk away, to quote Micah Miller with JP Diddy. Just walk away. She'd be smart to just drop it and rise above it, but no, she's not really smart. She might have a doctorate degree, she might be a professor, but she's obviously dumber than a box of rocks, because cheating your way into an Olympic sport is insane. Like, talk about being out of your league. My goodness, like, that's an understatement. Oh, and that's what the comedian said. It's so funny. It's like, I couldn't do those moves. Like, how would you think that I could even attempt to do those moves? Your moves are of an Olympic level. Like, that would take years of training, right? Yes, she should be laying low. Exactly. Just, ride it out. I mean, she got her comeuppance. She got what she deserved, and she's just so bitter about it. And she's such an attention whore. Anyway, let's quit giving her attention. Let's move on. Because the situation with Hannah and Kylie Rodney and SF Investigates being involved in the two, you guys. I just had this thought this morning, and I'm like not fully developed it yet. So help me out. SF Investigates has been like this with Kylie Rodney's family since jump, right? He's been right in their back pocket, or they've been in his back pocket, he's been in their back pocket. I don't know. It's like they're in bed together. I mean, that's kind of the phrase that people use with legal issues. And then with Hannah, he's in direct opposition to her family, isn't he? Direct opposition. And my opinion is that Kylie's family might have been in on whatever happened to her. Maybe not before it happened, but certainly after, in my opinion, from my perspective. Hannah, on the other hand, it doesn't appear that her family is in on anything. It appears that her family is really worried about her and that they really want to find her, that they don't care if she's done stupid things. They just want to know she's okay. Even if she just says, yeah, I'm fine, leave me alone, don't talk to me, right? Very polar opposite from the attitude of the Rodney Neiman family, in my opinion. So that just struck me this morning, and I thought, so SF says that he's been hired by the Rodney family from Jump and is still currently on their payroll. That's crazy. It's especially crazy when you're a private eye and you make public statements like that. Like, you would think nobody would want you to disclose that you're on their payroll. And I don't trust what he says anyway. I don't necessarily believe him. But why is he so invested in saying, nothing to see over here, folks, with Hannah? And not only that, but then he's trying to paint her family black, basically. He's trying to make them, he's attacking their credibility. And they don't need their credibility to be attacked. They're doing a fine job of that themselves, right? I mean, we're skeptical. We're skeptics. We're in the true crime community. We question everything and everyone, especially when it doesn't make sense, especially when you change your tune, especially when you're making GoFundMes and other things for income, like, social media platform profile type of stuff. You always got to follow the money. You always got to follow the money. So some of the comments or the statements that Hannah posted or texted to her friends that keep going through my head are things like, that she got tricked into giving all of her funds away to somebody that she thought she loved, and that they did some kind of like deep scrubbing of her identity. She didn't say identity theft. I don't remember the exact phrase, but it was like an identity purging. And I just, like, that's really stuck with me. I've thought, isn't that maybe what somebody would do if they were going to traffic someone? Do an identity purge? I mean, when you think about it, Kylie Rodney didn't have much of a electronic data profile. We still don't know anything about her cell phone records. We don't know anything about her laptop records. I'm still so suspicious of that case. And really, has SF Investigates been working on that case every day for 2.5 years almost? Crazy. Yeah, exactly. SF involved in any case is a sus thing. Completely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I almost feel bad for being so judgmental of him, but not really. He's a freaking dirtbag. I really want him to come at me. I think I'm trying to get him. I'm trying to lure him. Trying to bait him. Come on, SF. Give me your best shot. Show me what you got. He said at first he didn't know any of them and met Grandpa by chance. Right, Annabise. He went there to the property, and he was stumbling around on their property. That's called trespassing. Maybe right outside the fence, but still, that's creepy AF. And then, this is like way up in the Sierra Nevadas, way off the beaten path. You have to go Cold Creek Road or Cold Stream Road. It's windy, it's gravel, it's water. It's a bad road, really bad road. It's not even a road. It's basically just like a dirt path. And he's up there at their locked gate, I think is what the story was, when Grandpa met him. And Grandpa was very nice to him and was like, hey, what are you doing? And he said, oh, I heard your granddaughter's missing. I'm here to help. And Grandpa like turns around and gives him a key to the gate. Like, that's his story. It's not very believable, especially if these people are claiming that their daughter's disappeared and they don't know if she's been abducted, they don't know if she's being trafficked, and then they're giving the key to the property to a complete stranger that's like 6'3" and 250 pounds. I mean, he's a huge overbearing uh physical entity. He's a giant person. I mean, even standing next to the grandpa and the dad, and they both look like they're over 6 feet tall. He's like towering over them. He's large. He's stocky. He's not like heavy, like in a I'm not saying he's obese or anything like that. He's just big. He's like a freaking polar bear. He's intimidating. That's what he is. He's an intimidating um he has an intimidating stature. So really you're going to just hand the key over to this giant guy that's prowling around on your property when your granddaughter just went missing? That crap does not add up. It's crazy. Bait him on X. See, I don't do X. He's a vulture. Yeah. And I'm joking, of course, when I say baiting him. I mean, if these people are really as bad as I think they are, you don't want to be poking the bear, right? I mean, you just don't. Look what happened to Trinity. Was Trinity poking the bear? Was Kylie poking the bear? Dante? And I think I always forget to mention, it's interesting and important to mention when you're talking about Trinity Backus and Paisley Woodard, the two young women that passed away when they were dating Francis Fowler, and almost exactly a year apart to the day. I always forget to mention that they're doppelgangers of each other. And that's really important. Like, what are the chances? They look so much like each other. It's eerie. It's absolutely eerie. I think that Paisley Woodard was hit by that car on November 1st of 2021. And then Trinity Backus went missing, I think, on November 7th of 2022. And then she was found a couple of days later on November 9th. And then we all know what happened 4 days after that, right? But I wonder if the Idaho 4 case, too, is what kept us from examining Trinity Backus any deeper. Hey, Shan, what's up? Luigi admitted to CEO shooting. Oh, yeah. I have been focused on that a lot. Yeah, he's more than admitted it. It's like he wanted to get caught. Come on. He's like wearing the same outfit. He's carrying around weapons in his manifesto, and he's sitting in the restaurant eating. In fact, the people that called 911 said that they thought he could overhear them and that they were surprised that he didn't take off, right? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. There's got to be more to that story. There's got to be. So, evil CJ, that channel, he's been on the cutting edge with the Luigi stuff. He's done some videos the last couple of days where he's scouring over Luigi's social media, and things are getting scrubbed as he's looking at them. If it's authentic. I mean, I don't know, CJ. I don't know if he's getting had, but it's pretty fascinating. I've been focused on reading FOIAs and passing info on to the agents that care and do their jobs. Oh, good for you, Shan. Such a loaded comment for me anyway. Like, really, are there still agents who care and do their jobs? Like, I used to waste a lot of my time talking to them too. Yeah, it's hard to trust anybody. So I want to just keep jumping all around and be as confused as possible, because that's how my brain is working lately. I don't know why, but let's just go with the flow. So Hannah Kobayashi, if I'm remembering how to enunciate that mouthful of a last name. Hannah Kobayashi I think she was had by her ex-boyfriend. Oh my God. And she's so far out of his league. Have you guys seen pictures of this guy? Ugh. And I want to say he's a lot younger than her, like maybe 23 or 24. Munez, whatever the F the last name is. Oh, I put it in my thumbnail yesterday with a little snapshot of the itinerary. So it has his full name, first name, middle name, and last name. And I think that that needs to be out there. He needs to be tracked down, not by us. He needs to be interviewed by law enforcement, not only for what happened with her, but for his alleged fraudulent marriage to Mariana, who has no last name and is not on the itinerary. And then you've got Alan Douchebaggery, whatever his name is, that's also on the itinerary. And I think that those three people shafted Hannah so bad she didn't see it coming, that she thought she knew what was going on. She thought that she could trust these people, and it doesn't seem like she had a lot of people in her life. So the only people that were in her life, I think they stabbed her in the back. I think that's where that hell hath no wrath like a woman scorned. I think that's where that post came from the day before the flight. So I'm really thinking that she did not know that Alan and Mariana were still together, and that she really thought that her and Alan were having a love affair, and that, you know, maybe she married him so that he could get his visa, but that they were still having a legit relationship. And then she found out not. And then, oh, I did hear that Amun was really jealous of Alan. Have you guys heard that? I'm trying to remember where I heard that. Because, you know, rumors. You don't just want to build your ideas off of rumors, but that makes sense. I mean, Hannah's way out of Alan's league too, in my opinion. And he also, I think, is about 23 or 24. But Alan's not nearly as fugly as the other guy. Amun is fugly. And he has, of course, a legal rap sheet. I think he's wanted in the state of Texas. So, like, why was law enforcement so quick to say, oh, well, we talked to him and, you know, he's not involved in anything? You know, they were on the same flight together, but they weren't sitting together. They were sitting together. They just weren't sitting right next to each other. They had her husband in the middle. So Amun's wife's boyfriend was sitting between Amun and his ex-girlfriend. The boyfriend is the husband of Hannah. I know it gets super confusing. I don't think I crossed any wires there. So I'm sure you guys already know all this. Hannah's married to Alan. Alan is the boyfriend of Mariana, whose last name I've never come across. Mariana is fraudulently married to Amun, Hannah's ex-boyfriend, but she's still together with Alan. And Hannah is married to Alan. So I don't think that she realized that Alan and Mariana were still considering each other, and that they considered themselves an item. I think that that's what she found out. And I think that Amun and Alan, and also the other one, Mariana, that they all scammed her out of her money. And that's what she meant when she said that she was tricked into giving away all of her funds to somebody she thought she was in love with. She probably thought she was in love with Alan. I mean, she must have at some point thought she was in love with Amun, because I think they lived together in that trailer. And I'm not trying to throw any shade on her that she lived in a trailer. I'm just trying to underscore the reality of them affording this expensive New York City trip, four of them, four airplane tickets, hotel, accommodations, food, all that, affording that when she worked at a smoke shop and lived in a trailer where she didn't have to pay any money for the property or for the trailer, it's incongruent. So obviously she could have thought that she was hitting pay dirt with the fraudulent marriage if she was aware that it was a fraudulent marriage. Maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. I think that that's what the attorney and the family meant when they said, please don't jump to conclusions about Hannah. Like, we don't know yet. Like, we know that she had the documentation in her living quarters and that she had the information for an immigration attorney, but that doesn't mean that she knows that it was fraudulent. And we have no idea what was going on with her dad. I had heard on a real recent True Crime Rocket Science that Hannah had posted something about her father telling her that she was a speck of dust at some point in time. I'll have to go back and look at that video. It was just dropped. Her father told her that she was a speck of dust. So was that recently or was that a long time ago? They were estranged. I just think a very solid fact that women who have issues with their fathers, just like men who have issues with their mothers, it lends itself to major issues with relationships with significant others and relationship with themselves. So I'm still not convinced that what her dad did was on his own accord. It doesn't make any sense that he would do that in the middle of looking for her unless he got some really bad news, like that she was passed away. And I don't think that there's any evidence that she's passed away. But with SF Investigates involved saying everybody can stop looking for her, nothing to see over here, it raises that question in my mind. So, but yeah, somebody telling you that you're a speck of dust, I mean, sure, in the grand scheme of things, we are all specks of dust. But somebody that you care about telling you that you in particular are a speck of dust, that you're basically insignificant to them, it's very sad. Very, very sad. And that's really going to cut deep. You're the best, Shan. Thank you for that. Justice for Kylie Rodney. I do need to sit with all of the CAD logs soonish, so do expect a live on my alt either later tonight or super early tomorrow. Oh, how exciting, Shan. Yeah, I've missed your lives a lot. And Mark hasn't been doing his lives. I wonder, I hope he got a job. Does anybody know how Mark and his puppy dog are doing? Wrigley, isn't that his dog's name? Ripley is his dog's name. I hope Ripley's okay. I know that she's older and he's always worried about her. The reply I got for my FOIA request via Washo is I'll have to read it to you all since I'll be waiting 30 days for them to fulfill my request. We are all looking forward to it. I've arrived late, so watching from the start. Buzar. What a wild handle. Be a user? Be a user? Is that? Anyway, it's a cool word. Never seen it before. Welcome. Thanks for coming in, you guys. So yeah, why did SF align himself with Kylie's family and then set himself up in opposition to Hannah's family? What's up with that? What is up with that? You can't even keep up with the cray with these cases. If you even try to keep up with the cray and all the insane things these people say, all the stuff that spews out of their mouths, it'll make you cray. Like, especially if you're talking about it, if you're talking about why these people are just so lacking credibility. If you try to explain it to somebody, it sounds like you're crazy because all this stuff that you're recounting that they've said and done just doesn't even make sense, in my opinion and in my experience. That's how it goes. It's just like too much information. It's best just to like let sleeping dogs lie, except that then they get away with creating a fake narrative, which is why I admire Ninja so truly and deeply for breaking down all the crazy crap that Jen Soto and Stefan Stearns's parents say, because they say so much crazy stuff that you just like give up. You just throw your hands up and you're just like, oh my God, I can't. Okay. I think Mark is good, as is his pup. I think he's been focusing on his job endeavors. Yeah, I'm hoping so. That's what I thought too. Think it's pronounced Bowser? No? Oh, that could be quite feasible, because it sounds like Hannah's family want to keep looking for her. They absolutely want to keep looking for her. They've said point blank that if we're invading your space, we apologize, but we just need to know that you're okay. And then with Dog the Bounty Hunter saying that he knows her and that his daughters know her and that he's not allowed into the country of Mexico for the time being. But it sounded like he was implying that his daughters might be going down there. And then I don't know if these sightings of her over the weekend were fake or confirmed, that she was like dancing at a gentleman's club. I don't know. I mean, to me, it sounds fabricated. Again, especially if she doesn't want to be discovered, if she's trying to lay low. Like, I'm just thinking, like, what if she's just so profoundly embarrassed and ashamed and devastated? I mean, I don't know how many people watching this have ever been cheated on, and I'm so sorry for anybody who has, by a friend or somebody that you thought was a friend or a family member, carrying on with your significant other and then finding out about it, whether it was like a one-time thing or ongoing thing. The trust is such a profound existential angst when the people that were the most important people in your life have hurt you like that. There's just no words for it, and it makes it pretty much impossible to trust anybody. But what I think is so curious is that Hannah was allegedly palling around Los Angeles with a gentleman that she had met at the airport when she apparently intentionally missed her flight. And then, like, they spent the night together at Union Station. I think that's the name of the what I was calling Grand Central Station in my video yesterday or the day before, mistakenly. It's called Union Station, the one in LA. And that they just like snoozed on a bench in Union Station. They hung out together for like 9 hours. And then she woke up before him in the morning, and there's like videotape surveillance of her waking up, gathering her things, and leaving. It's just very, very curious. Like, curious and curious her, right? Sounds like she's trying to escape her family to get her own ish together without their input. These cases have so many twists and turns. It's hard to know what to believe most of the time. Maybe that's why I feel like my head is just spinning, with Hannah's case, with Luigi. I mean, I love his name. I love the name Luigi. I mean, you Google that and you get the Mario Brothers, right? So Luigi seems to have a lot more in common with Brian Koberger than just the bushy eyebrows. Don't they look alike? Especially when they're in their, what do you call those? Like suicide prevention vests? There's a word for them. They have a very, very similar facial structure. They're close to the same age. They both were arrested in Pennsylvania, Shan. Your state has been so important lately. Everything, that's where all the action is. They both were very bright. They both, uh, sorry, choking on a fur ball. I ate some nuts and raisins right before I came on, and I think a peanut skin just surfaced in the back of my throat. That was harsh. Okay, I think I'm all right. Um, Luigi and Koberger, they both were teaching, or they were both like graduate school assistants, like kind of assistant professors, I think. I don't think Luigi was doing that currently, but he had a job where he could work remotely, and that's why he was able to live in Hawaii. And then he trespassed on a business's property to get to a really nice surfing spot sometime in 2023 when he was living there. And he got into a terrible surfing accident. I guess he already had a bad back, but injured his back severely. So then he got, trespassed, as well as dealing with significant pain and suffering. And it sounded like he'd already been dealing with significant pain and suffering, and that his mom had too. And so I was under the impression that his mom had passed away. I think I might have even said that in my video the day before yesterday. I should review it because I think she is still alive. I think that his mother and his father are both alive, and that he's one of 3 kids. I think he's the youngest, and his 2 older sisters, like one of them is a doctor, and then I'm not sure the other one. So Luigi, and one of his sisters' name is Luciana, I think. And then the other one might be like Marianne or something, and she might be the doctor. I'm not sure. I'm just going off the top of my head. Turtle suit. Thank you, Anna Bees. That's exactly what they call them. But yeah, it's so that they can't hurt themselves with it, right? And how humiliating to be in a turtle suit, have your photo taken, and then have it like distributed worldwide. I mean, no one's going to look good in a turtle suit, right? Oh, squirrels, I totally agree. Oh my goodness, I totally agree. I think we're being overwhelmed and psyopsed on purpose. Right, because it's just so much crazy coming at you that you just can't keep up. And then these things that are really big deals, you just like let it go because you don't even know how to process it. And it's just so much. I mean, again, like with the P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Jay-Z, all of that, and that lawsuit getting amended on Sunday, and then Luigi getting arrested the very next day, like totally saving Jay-Z's hiney to some extent. I mean, people still care, but if Luigi wasn't arrested, if this wasn't going on too, there'd be a lot more focus on P. Diddy's history and Jay-Z's history and all of their deceased ex-lovers. They both have stacks of deceased ex-lovers, allegedly. And one of Jay-Z's was pregnant, and now they're saying that maybe she gave birth to that baby before she passed away. What did she pass away from? She was like 28 years old, and they said she had an aneurysm, but she was pregnant with his kid, and he wasn't happy about it. And yeah, people can have aneurysms at 28, but that's just nuts. Let's see. I pay attention from a distance, Squirrel said. Luigi admitted to Pew Pew, that CEO. Well, writing on the shell casings is pretty specific. And everybody always gets it wrong. The defend, deny, defer. No. Deny, defer, depose. But people have so many different things in there. They usually get the depose and they get the deny, but the middle one they get wrong. I'm pretty sure that that one is defer, because that's just basically postponing the payment, just holding on to your money longer. Deny, defer, depose. He admitted to it today. Yeah. 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 I've been watching a lot on the interwebs, as much as I can keep up with and keep my sanity and keep my life in order and still get the things done that I need to get done. I agree with that, Shan. Beck says, I was just talking to my husband. I think these cases could be a psyops. Absolutely. Oh, and he thinks you're crazy, Bex. Well, that's because you're a woman and you've got that wandering uterus thing going on. Don't we all? No, my husband likes to pretend that I'm a little bit nutty too, but he knows that I'm usually right. I mean, I'll be the first to say that I'm a little bit nutty because I'm not afraid of that. I mean, I am what I am. And, the world's a little bit nutty, more than a little bit nutty. So you'd be pretty crazy to not be nutty, in my opinion. My thing, I haven't said it on my channel in a long time. My thing is always like, everybody's crazy. Just what kind of crazy? Like good crazy or bad crazy, right? I like to think that I'm good crazy. But there's another little cliche that I don't think I invented it, but it's something that I used to say a lot and still do sometimes, is that there's a fine line between psycho and psychic. There's a very fine line, in my opinion. Brain is on overload, Annabee says. This is true. My brain is on overload. And I want to say, as far as like getting cheated on or, trusting the wrong people, that can happen to anybody. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how well you can read people, usually. That can happen to anyone. And I hope it hasn't happened to any of you, because it's the worst. When I was with my first boyfriend, he cheated all the time. It was heinous. And as long as it wasn't anybody that I knew, it didn't really hurt. But when it was people that were close to me, that felt different. I tried explaining that to him one day and he didn't understand, because we kind of had like an open relationship. So I tried to explain it to him. So how would you feel if I were to sleep with this person? And he was just like, don't even say those words. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And then when I found out that when he was married, which, he married somebody else when we were engaged, but that's fine. I was like, good riddance, dodged that bullet. Then when I heard through the grapevine, through mutual friends, that he had his first affair, I'm like, first affair that she knows of? Come on. And what a terrible way to phrase it. His first affair. So you're expecting more. No, that's a deal breaker, in my opinion. I mean, sure, you can work through anything if somebody's worth it. But in general, cheaters are always going to be cheaters. And if that's how you got together with your partner, they're going to do it to you. Let's see. And even though I was really young when it happened, it still was like, oh, I just can't imagine that happening as an adult, when you think that you're older and wiser. And again, I hope it hasn't happened to anybody here, please. And if it has, I'm very, very sorry. Luigi is my son's dog's name. Luciana is my great niece name. So I've never known anybody named Luigi. I have known somebody named Luciana. I've also known somebody named Guido, and I thought Guido was super freaking cool. His name made him even cooler. He was kind of a nerd, but being that his name was actually Guido, I was like, man, Guido rocks. He was my age. It was in college. So funny. I thought it was hot. And then Luciana was an old friend from junior high school, and a very pretty name. That's the only person I've ever known with that name. But yeah, Luigi and Luciana, those names are so similar to have for a boy and a girl. But both of the sisters are older than Luigi, right? And he just turned 26, I think, in May, which may have expired him from his parents' health care plan. I don't know. I think 26 is the cutoff these days. But he had his own work. He may have had his own insurance. And yeah, I mean, he could actually sue the company whose property he was on, even though he trespassed. He could argue a case that they made themselves easily trespassable, right? Like if you steal someone's motorcycle and then crash it, you can sue them for making their motorcycle so easy and tempting, right? I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's nuts. The law is nuts sometimes. But again, you have to have good attorneys. Oh my goodness, and his family is so loaded. Like I thought it was just his parents that owned nursing homes, but it was his grandparents that owned country clubs and nursing homes, and like just a huge, vast estate of wealth in his family that he would be heir to. And I want to say he's like one of like 28 or 29 cousins that would be divvying that up. I don't know if his grandfather's passed away yet or not. So for some reason, a couple days ago, I'd heard that his father had passed away and that his mother might have passed away, but I think that was incorrect. I think that both his mother and his father are still alive. But Brian, the CEO that he pew-pewed in New York City, he was estranged from his wife. I think they separated in 2018, yet they were still legally married. And then 2 of his homes were swatted the same morning that he was gunned down, right? It's just a wild, wild ride. Okay, Annie Ruler, hello. Yes, possibly psyops. In my opinion, 4 or more Luigi's. First guy, in my opinion, looked very Middle Eastern. Annie Ruler, I could totally agree with you that he looks very different in a lot of the pictures, and like the eyebrows are different and stuff. But people can like shave or wax or pluck their eyebrows, and we all look so different from different angles with different lighting and different expressions on our faces. So it's really hard to say, in my opinion, from my perspective. But I totally see where you're coming from. And yeah, so Luigi is Italian. His family is Italian. And the real famous photograph of him, like in the Starbucks or at the hostel when he was flirting with the girl and took his mask down, and his chin is really pointed. His features are very fine looking. He's very effeminate looking. He looks like such a pretty boy, like such a pretty boy. And he is a pretty boy. But the pointiness of his chin and the kind of the fine delicacy of his features isn't quite what I see in all of the stuff that's come out since he's been captured. And I wonder if part of that chin line of his in that photograph isn't like cut by the mask still, that there's like a black mask that's making a fake chin line. Again, it's so hard with this digital images and from far away. The, what do you call those little tiny dots? Shan, help me out here. Pixelation. The pixelation can totally play tricks, right? Like think about Kylie Rodney's ear in that photograph where she looks like she's laying in the water and she's got like the rope fingers and she's allegedly doing a shot of some alcohol, and her ear looks like it has 4 ear holes or something. Like, and I think that's just pixelation. I don't know. But yeah, it does all kinds of weird stuff, the pixelation. And because just like our imaginations, the computers fill in the way they want to fill in. Squirrel says, I gotta agree. There, Annie, seems like at least 2 different Luigis in the psyops. Yeah, and I don't think it's very probable that he was acting alone. I mean, yes, he's very smart, but this person who did this was so advanced in their training. It was like they were a trained assassin, in my opinion. And then, being a trained assassin, they're not going to be wandering around carrying their manifesto and wearing the same mask and the same clothes and, you know, eating in a public place. Craziness, absolutely craziness. I have questions and no answers. LOL. Squirrels on fire. I know camera angles can be different, but I have seen a couple BKs too, especially the handsome one when transferred to Boise, in my opinion. But they look so much like each other, it kills me. Again, the bushy eyebrows, like the bushy eyebrow bandits. It's just like, come on. I mean, Luigi's much, much more handsome than Brian Koberger, but most of the photographs I think that we see of Brian Koberger, he looks creepy AF. But I do think that he's probably very attractive if you got the right photos of him, the right angles, the right lighting, the right expressions. Um, he probably looks a lot like Luigi. And Luigi looks a lot like James Franco's brother. I forget his name. Is it Dave Franco? I took a screenshot, but I think it's on my laptop, so I'll have to dig that up afterwards. The blue plate behind you looks like a CERN portal. It is. I don't know what a CERN is, but that's perfect. It is a portal, and I was going to dive into it after we're done here. It's actually, it's so cool. I showed it off when I first got it. It's like, uh, it's a mini replica of the rose in the Notre Dame Cathedral, and it's actually stained glass. It's actually freaking stained glass. They're not that expensive. I think I got this one for 40, which to me, I've never paid $40 for a plate. But I think that top dollar on eBay is like 100. And then I just have this little blue light behind it to make it super cool. Ah! And then everything's going to fall down. This is why I can't touch anything. Please stop. Gravity, man. What in the world? It usually doesn't fall. Like, what is going on? I have to redo it. I'll have to like make a little ridge there so it doesn't fall. That's freaking annoying. Because I jump because I think everything's going to fall. Like dominoes. Anyway, yeah, I love my little plate. I love all my crazy stuff. I'm always like trying to simplify it, taking stuff out, and then I put stuff in. I'm just like, man, when am I going to stop? Never. Right around never o'clock, right? And yeah, let's not touch anything. Let's just leave it all alone. I was like, I got to straighten that out. What? My orange thing? Ugh, the batteries went out. Oh no. I can't not have the orange one. See, this is the silliness of having all this stuff. Like sometimes I think I should just get rid of it all and not worry about it. I certainly shouldn't be worrying about it mid mid thing, right? But here I am worrying about it. Let's see. Where's a light that will work? I'll just see about this one. This one's going to be too red. It's going to make it look red. And then I'm sure you guys just love seeing me get all obsessive with my lighting. And then the whole thing's going to come crashing down. Okay. Should I just leave it alone? I think I should just leave it alone. Just leave it. Don't touch anything. That's what I always say. That's from Drop Dead Fred. I'm the pirate who doesn't touch anything. When they're on the boat, when they're on the yacht, and he's crashing it and sinking it. It's what's her name's Carrie Fisher is in that movie, and it's her yacht. And Phoebe Cates is the one who has the imaginary friend Fred, and so Carrie Fisher's character thinks that Phoebe Cates's character sunk her yacht, but really it was Fred. It was Fred who did it because he was touching things when he shouldn't have been. Okay, enough of all that crazy brain fart. Here we go. We're staying focused, right? I just have a lot of questions and no answers, Beck says, and that was like 14 minutes ago, so let me get caught up. Granny Annie. Squirrels on Fire. I know camera angles can be different, but I have seen BKs too, especially the handsome one. Okay, read that one. Blue Plate. That's what got me in trouble. It's your fault, Shan. I'm gonna blame it on you. Just kidding. Where did it go? Okay. The lack of information on Hannah reminds me of Kylie's case. Yeah, but Hannah's case is even less information, but some of that I think is because like they're probably embarrassed that she lived in a trailer. They don't want to say she worked in a smoke shop. That they're trying to be secret about that stuff. Like Kylie lived in a freaking palace, a cabin, a palace of a cabin, or a cabin of a palace, or something like that. Much like the Elise in Frozen. And she worked at a cute little tea boutique, and she probably, I'm sure, worked at the lodge that her family owned. But she had a nice fancy car. Like, it doesn't sound like Hannah probably had a car. I don't know. Like, I've always wondered why she didn't rent a car in LA. That's such a giant city to be in with no car. That's crazy. That's why nobody in LA knows anything about Union Station, because you can't be in that city without a car. You just can't. And Valerie Curto, nice to see you. It's been a while. The Pelosi and Mayorka's ties to Luigi is likely safe to say the PSYOPs is backed by BlackRock. Wow, squirrels, you're blowing my mind. Blowing my mind. I don't even know who the Macoras are. I know the Pelosi's, I know BlackRock. Yeah, and the timing of it with all the political stuff about Obamacare and oh man. Yeah, I mean, who isn't upset with their insurance company? But for people to say that the guy had it coming, it is important to know, though, that the guy, the CEO, Brian, that was fatally wounded, he had bodyguards. He didn't have them that morning, but he normally traveled with bodyguards because he had threats on his life often, routinely. So where were his bodyguards? That's where it makes the whole thing weirder. And then Christina Randall, bless her soul, bless her heart, she did a cool video about it yesterday where it was like she was implying that the CEO had faked his own death. I think. I don't know if she implied it or she straight up said it, but I'm like, silly Christina. Like, she never goes on conspiracy theories, does she? I mean, she always acts like she's going to, but then she doesn't. But yeah, weird that he didn't have bodyguards. Weird that he wouldn't stay at the hotel where the thing that he was heading over to the Hilton, I think, where he was going to be delivering a speech. He was helping set up, allegedly, like he's going over there at 6:30. My guess is that he maybe had like the opening whatever you call it, speech or orientation kind of thing, where you get the ball rolling for the whole conference, if it was a conference type of thing. I just can't help but think about the Fugitive movie and, the medical conference where the guy is giving the speech when the fugitive comes in and breaks it all up. Harrison Ford. I couldn't think of his name for a second. Yeah. So why wouldn't the CEO guy be staying at that same hotel. I know when I used to go to professional conferences that I would always try to stay in the same hotel unless I had a free place to stay, but I wasn't going to stay at another hotel. I mean, I guess if it's all booked up, but man, he's a heavy hitter. He can, I'm sure, bump people out of the way if he needs to. Um, let's see. Granny says a cheat can just happen at an innocent lunch. LOL. Or my 12-year-old sister and 29-year-old husband. Just funny stories now. Oh, gross, Annie. I'm so sorry for you and your sister. What a freaking dirtbag. I hope he was taken out for that by you guys or some random, stranger, right? Ugh, gross. Hey, puppy dog. Let's see. Got overload of info on Luigi in 5 minutes and not a drop of info on crooks in 5 months. And then when you think about the executive political ties with Luigi, I'm sticking with a great psyops. So I'm pretty sure Luigi is actually like right wing. I don't know if you got a different take on it, Shan. Because he almost seems like he'd be left wing, but I'm pretty sure from his posts and his writings that he identifies as right wing. But maybe you can help me figure that out. Hold on, let me check my message real quick. Um, all right. My daughter has a basketball game tonight. So she was just texting me. Was I in the middle of reading that one? Got an overload of info on Luigi in 5 minutes and not a drop of info on the crooks in 5 months. And then when you think about the executive political ties with Luigi, I'm sticking with great psyops. By crooks, are you talking about the assassination attempts, Shan? I'm not sure what you're talking about from 5 months ago with no info, if you want to share. Did I highlight that one? Let's see. Sorry, I'm so far behind you guys. I'm going to try to catch up. Okay. Highlight that one and then speed read, because how far behind am I? A bit. I can't be 18 minutes behind. That's impossible. Okay, BlackRock and PsyOps, hand in hand, it feels. First T shooting, guy had been in BlackRock ad or something. Yeah, BlackRock is like involved with everything, it seems like. And they own everything, right? Like they're the rulers of the world. Yes, Granny, that's correct. Shan says Luigi, I'll bet, was MK Ultra. Whoa, Shan, that could well be. It sounds like he got addicted to the painkillers he was probably taking for the back surgery, and that he was doing a bunch of like mushrooms and stuff, which that would be a really bad combination. And yeah, that could make you completely and MK Ultra yourself, right? Self-imposed MK Ultra paperclip mission. SF Open Mind does crisis acting lives. Wait, Squirrels on Fire. Open Mind does crisis acting lives at times. Some actors at various school, pow pow, and one lady looks like Mrs. G. So Open Mind, is that the content creator that initially called her channel something like Van Life something, and she had the 2-minute digital animation of the Idaho 4, the house, the crime scene with the alleged perp and his going through and doing what he did, because I'm sorry, but I don't understand where that channel is coming from. If that's the same channel, that channel seems like a psyops. A lot of the channels involved with true crime seem like psyops, especially around the Idaho 4. And I know I kind of got accused of that too around the Kylie Rodney case with, all the new channels that sprung up with Kylie Rodney's case. So, I try to keep an open mind that just because a channel looks like it's suspicious doesn't mean that it is suspicious. But I think we've always got to be careful. And yeah, I used to like go into her chats and stuff, but she was just too extreme for me. I couldn't take it. I don't know what was going on there. Yes, camera angles and lenses too. Need to know objects may appear smaller. Fisheye camera maybe. And larger. You guys are probably familiar with the content creator Perez Hilton. I love him. I just discovered him, or I just discovered that I love him. I used to be like, I'm not going to watch that. But he was so funny. He was making a video last night and he's just like, is my nose getting bigger? My nose is getting bigger. And yeah, our noses and our ears do get bigger as we get older, but the camera angle sometimes makes it look like a perfect little pointy nose. Other times it makes it look like the giantess nose that takes up your whole face. Does the same thing with your forehead and your chin and your breasts. Dudes don't have to worry about that. Anyway, back on track. Fisheye. Yeah, I hate it. Pixels. Sorry, I was a minute or two behind. I'm like 12 minutes behind that, or 18 to be exact. It's reflection of the water. SF exactly. So much experimental stuff. And in my opinion, perfected stuff out there. You can't really trust digital media. They make anything appear as they want. If you don't see it with your own eyes or hear it with your own ears, then question everything. Well, and sometimes even when you see it with your own eyes and hear it with your own ears, it can still be fabricated. Yeah, I was looking up giant crystal caves earlier today, and a lot of the photographs of the spelunkers looked like artificial intelligence. Some of them are genuine, but some of them were definitely artificial intelligence. But yeah, those are crazy cool. Crazy cool and so dangerous to go into. I mean, because it's basically like walking into a box of giant glass. Like if you fell, you'd be toast. And yeah, you see things that you think you see things that you don't see sometimes, and sometimes you see things and you just block it out because it's just too much. You just can't make sense of it, so you just pretend it's not there, right? It's like the elephant in the middle of the room. I don't think Luigi looks like BK. Oh, you just haven't seen the pictures that I'm talking about, Annabes. And the eyebrows, the giant bushy eyebrows, like the unibrow, the caterpillar brow. But he doesn't always have the unibrow, caterpillar brow, just like Brian. You all see how they're trying to blame those drones over New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania on Iran now. A mothership, LOL, nah, kids. If it's foreign, our military shoots that shit down. Those orbs are USA made, in my opinion. I don't even know what you're talking about, squirrels. What did I miss? That's wild. It's making me think of the red hot air balloon, or was it like a yeah, it was like a hot air balloon in Montana or something like a year ago. It was like from China or something. I don't know. Remember subliminal messages they used to have in movie theaters and made illegal because it was pictures to tell our brain we wanted that, causing trans craze, in my opinion, via hetero PORN. Oh, Granny Annie. Such heavy stuff. But no, subliminal advertising is illegal, but they still do it all the time. Like I've studied advertising and I've studied subliminal advertising, and I see it all the time. It's gross, in my opinion. They still use subliminals. They've just gotten better at it in other ways. Yeah, anytime you see like a photograph of ice cubes, say in a liquor ad, look really closely at those ice cubes and you'll see all kinds of crazy stuff. Like you're at a freaking P. Diddy freak off. I mean, seriously, you'll see the Titanic stuff. You'll see the stuff that Annie just mentioned. You'll see the craziest stuff you've ever seen. What is this one thing? Oh my goodness. I guess maybe I'll share this on a community tab. It's a advertisement. It's a billboard for alcohol. And it's so crazy. Just when I drive by, I can see all this stuff. And then I finally like found it on the internet so I could like break it down more carefully. And it's like a man and a woman fully dressed, laying on flotilla things. Here we go. It's a hard seltzer. And this is the image. Like I said, I'll show it on my community tab. Can you see it? It's an advertisement for hard seltzer. So the man is black. The woman is white. The woman's wearing like pink fluffy clothes. The man has like a horse's dong on, I think it's right under his shirt there. Maybe you can see it better now that it's darker. It's like what would be his left pec. The man is the one that's on top. The woman is the one on the bottom. Anyway, I'll put that photograph on my community tab if I can, so you can see what I'm talking about. Like, that shit's crazy. It's so loaded. Okay. And yeah, they have gotten a lot better at it. I'm going to stop pointing stuff out because every time I do, you touch stuff and crash your studio. That's funny. It's just so nice to have people in here. Yesterday, it was like hardly any chat at all. And my brain was just like flatlining. So it was under an hour, which, you know, they've been mostly over an hour lately. And I like your stuff. I am the same way. I have miniature things. Oh my God, I have so much miniature stuff. Like, you guys, have you noticed? I haven't really pointed out the little fairy house. I'm going to go ahead and pick it up and knock everything over. The little fairy house. My mommy gave me this. Is that so cute? It's like where the squirrels can live, right? And then I've got a tiny bird bath next to it and a little bridge behind it. And then over here, I'm going to knock everything down. I'm going to just have to show you another time because you know how it gets. I'll just show you this one because I don't think you can see it. It's right off the screen. It's a little pillbox with a tiny painting of the Eiffel Tower. And then in the pillbox goes this little tiny tube of paint. And there were 2 tiny tubes of paint, but then I must have lost one. And yeah, anyway, there's a tiny, oh, you can kind of see it. There's a tiny motorcycle right there. You'll have to zoom way in. Okay, enough off camera. I've got my little teapot, my little grandma teapot that has tiny flowers and tiny windows and all kinds of silly stuff. And then I've got like this whole set of tiny chairs. Here I go off the deep end. And then I got my tiny gates, my tiny fence, my tiny mailbox. Do you see the tiny mailbox? I think this is Studio 56. It's really high quality. Anyway, I've got a tiny bathtub. Where's my tiny bathtub? And there, somewhere, it's not in the bathtub, is a tiny little like soap dish that sits on the side and has a tiny soap in it and everything. But it's MIA at the moment. Okay. Back to focusing. I'm still trying to get caught up. Oh my goodness, I'm so far behind. You guys are going to kill me. Snot face. Right. From half an hour ago. Yes, patent some of those techniques, in my opinion, changing direction and intensity of hurricane. I heard jets all night. Change direction. Yeah, I guess there was a fire the night before last or last night or both in a Malibu fire that Brush Junkie was covering. I haven't watched anything about it, but yeah, Malibu gets a lot of fires. Southern California. I mean, it's hard to think that any of that is anything but natural, but you never know. I mean, It's a bunch of crazy stuff. The weather control. Oh, I've got the best joke in the world for you. Trump is going to appoint Marjorie Taylor Greene to be the weather controller. Is that a good one or what? She'd make the best weather controller. Okay, Granny Annie says, all night the jets. I told my ex, he said the US government flies to measure speed. It was sudden hook to us now. I wonder. Valerie says it's sad. Kylie's grandpa gave her the car, saw she needed freedom. Hannah's jobs, cash service basis. Can equal other services, aka rug distributors or escort business, no products of trace, in my opinion. Yeah, good point. And yeah, Kylie's grandpa allegedly was going to be trying to give her the lodge too, right? He was trying to get the mom and dad to move out of there so that he could clear the way to have Kylie control it. I don't know if that's true or if that was just a rumor. Luigi is not a conservative. He's an Ivy League Dem. Yeah, he's definitely Ivy League. He has his master's and bachelor's from the University of Pennsylvania. And yeah, I didn't listen to his valedictorian speech, but the man that he pew-pewed, Brian, the CEO, he was also the valedictorian of his high school, and he was the valedictorian of his college where he got his bachelor's degree in business or accounting or something like that. That's huge to be a valedictorian in college. It's crazy. Crazy. They tried to twist Crooks and Luigi as Republican, and neither are. Yeah, well, and some of these people probably don't fit into either. Probably they probably have some beliefs that fit into one category and some beliefs that fit into the other. But yeah, I see what you're saying, Shan. Hannah, in my opinion, was killing time waiting for her plane to leave and luggage to return. Renting a car for 24 hours is okay if free parking and you know where you're going. Ubers are just so nice for short. Well, yeah, Ubers are such a thing now. But yeah, wouldn't they be tracking all of her Uber movement if she was using Ubers? It sounded like she was using like the buses and stuff. Killing time waiting for her plane to leave and luggage to return. So I think that when she missed her flight intentionally, that she went to a ticket counter and said that her luggage was on its way to New York and she needed to reroute it back to LA. And then she left the airport. And then she came back 3 days later to pick up her luggage once she was notified that it was back. I think that's how it went. And yeah, that was on the 11th when she picked up her luggage in LAX. And then the 12th was when she crossed over, according to SF Investigates and other sources, right? I'm saying more information came out in 5 minutes on Luigi than any information on Crooks in 5 months. Yeah, it's a very, very astute point, Chan. MK Ultra makes most sense for the selected Luigi, in my opinion. Yeah, I think we're going to be learning all kinds of cray on that. Open Mind Perspectives was van life. She designs restaurant furniture here in Vegas. She has not had an easy life, and I do proceed with caution. Yeah, she seemed like a nice enough person. But yeah, the YouTube channel, I just, it's so hard to know what's real and what's not real. If I get that kind of spidey sense from a channel, I just avoid it because it's easy to get, you know, kind of caught up in things. And I really like to watch stuff that is more middle of the road and that explores the other side of what it is that I'm thinking, that's trying to prove the other side so that I can be more critical in my thinking. You're right, because I do not know who Crooks is. 5 months. Right. That's the guy who was on the roof, who's was unalived on the spot, allegedly. You guys don't want to know what I think about that whole thing, do you? I don't think any of it was real. I think the whole thing was street theater. Yep. Just being honest, just keeping it real. I try to keep that under my hat because I don't want to be offensive. And if anybody did lose their life, then that's super offensive. But why has the president elect never released the medical records related to that? And that whole thing with the maxi pad on his ear, that was freaking crazy. That was so crazy. And then he's like, oh, it healed so quickly. The lobe, the lobe. It's like, dude, I think the lobe's down here, pretty sure. But no, ears don't generally heal without scarring like that, you know. And bullets on a um, yeah, the semi-automatic, they don't behave that way. They like explode things, right? They don't graze. They do not graze, from what I've been told and what I've learned. Um, I mean, it's the same type of weapons that are used at school shootings often. And yeah, we don't ever want to see pictures of that. You're right. Okay. During lockdown, my bonus son in Burbank, California, was seeing little lights buzzing around. Can't remember if they were green or blue, but they would back up to power poles, palm trees. Rested in the palm trees. OMG, Granny says that's a dong. I screenshot you and pinched my phone. That poor girl. It's like a horse's dong, Granny. It's gross. And this is just a billboard. It's actually in Springfield. And I would drive by it and I'd just be like, the first time I drove by it, I was like, oh my God, did I just see what I thought I saw? And yeah, I will post it on the community tab. It's insane. So insane. And all the other subliminal messages in that are creepy AF too, in my opinion. Especially that they're using like this interracial couple and, you know, making the man um, basically like a pimp and making her like a Madonna kind of thing. Like, it's just gross. Absolutely gross. Crooks is the guy who shot the Donald in Butler, and he's the one in the BlackRock ad. Right, 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 right. Yes, when I miss my flights, they usually try to get me on the next one. Quite certain that is what told them she wanted to stay was a request quickly that she was staying. Right, Annie. It took me forever to get to that information. I've only gotten that information acquired in the last week because at first I figured that she had called to get her luggage rerouted. And at first I believed that she might have missed her flight, you know, trying to run from one gate to another. But yeah, it seems like she was ditching the flight and ditching the people that she was traveling with. So yeah, Annabes, ooh, yuck. So I'm going to put some interesting links in the description today. I'll put a couple of links to some of the things that I was saying about the potential of a psyops street theater kind of thing. Because there's not a lot out there, and I honestly don't buy it. I think like his niece, Mary Trump said, like, it's weird how, you know, he's not worried about that happening anymore. Like, I mean, it really seemed like a sympathy thing. It really did. It was so weird, especially the second one, because that wasn't really an attempt. And then the third one that was like a nothing burger. I don't even know. Don't even know. Depends on what type of ammo you buy, close up versus far away from my AR choices. So yeah, automatic, not semi-automatic. But yeah, it was very far away, wasn't it? It was super, super far away. Yeah. So Anyway, I'll share a couple of videos that you guys might find interesting in the description that have to do with that. And yeah, it looks like the dog is making the red one move. Okay. Don't touch anything. Snot nose, right? Snot face. Snot face. And yeah, now the orange is red and the red is orange. Oh, it's just all messed up. I give up. I'm going to take it all out of here and just have nothing. I've thought about it. I've thought about it many times. Just, you know, maybe doing an overhaul, but it's so much work. It's like I just like to don't fix what's not broken, right? Because that's when everything breaks. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much for being on my live chat with me. I love you. I miss you guys. I'm so excited to be getting back into the groove of it. And I hope I'm not jinxing it by saying that. So we do have the holidays coming up. Love and blessing, Shan. My dear, dear friend. I've been thinking about you. And all of you, thank you again, you guys, for helping with making this happen and keeping it interesting with your contributions. And sorry that I fell so far behind. Let me look at my notes. There might be something else I need to share. I think I got it all. Yeah, I think I got it all. Granny Annie. So happy to see all of you too, Annabees. Let's see what Granny Annie said before we click off the live and make it complete. Her ex-boyfriend didn't give her her cut for green card marriage, or green card hubby didn't, and she supported him. Texts were about those relationships, right? And not getting identity thefted, but having her identity basically like deleted. So like the phrasing that she uses is not that she had her identity stolen, but she had her identity like wiped out by like deep state identity thefters or something. I don't remember the wording. But yeah, I definitely think that she got scammed, and it could be that she married him thinking that they fell in love, and then she found out that he was paying her ex-boyfriend and that her ex-boyfriend was married to his current girlfriend. I don't know. I think that if she's alive, and I hope she is, and if she's not being trafficked, and I hope she isn't, if she's just missing on her own, it could just be that she's so freaking heartbroken and just so unwilling to trust anybody, and she's just so embarrassed and ashamed that she's just hiding out. That the last thing she's going to want to do is to come out of hiding and then get all this publicity and say, yeah, they made a fool of me. I don't know which way is up. I can't tell a good guy from a bad guy. I marry people that I don't know, and they take all my money, and I'm just a ditz. I mean, she certainly didn't seem like a ditz. She seemed like a very interesting person. And yeah, so she was native from Hawaii, and the other three are not. Like the dirtbag ex-boyfriend Amun was from Texas. I don't know where he was from before that. And then the two, Mariana and Alan. Well, Alan's from Portugal. I don't know if Mariana is or not, but I'm also super curious what Mariana's last name is. And I'd like to see a picture of her, because the pictures that I've seen of Alan and Amun, like those guys are like dog face, especially Alan. No, especially Amun, especially the ex-boyfriend, the one with the rap sheet and it was wanted in Texas. He's an absolute, like, looks like dog food. He's just fugly. absolutely fugly. And Hannah's gorgeous. And Alan, if he was a nice person, would be decent looking. Um, but I'm curious about Mariana. And then I'm also curious about the thing that I think it was True Crime Rocket Science who said that Amun was jealous of Alan for his fake marriage to his wife. I mean, fake marriage to Amun's ex girlfriend. But, maybe Amun dumped her so that she would be an easy catch for Alan to have like a fake love affair with, and then a fake proposal, and then a fake marriage. But she wouldn't realize it was a fake marriage. And then when she did realize, she was just overcome with probably anger and embarrassment. Could be like my sis-in-law thought it was love, then his girlfriend showed up. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, when you're dealing with snakes, when you're dealing with crooks, things get weirder than you can possibly imagine. Things can get weirder than you can possibly imagine with just basic real life when nobody's being crooked. I mean, things just get weird. So before I go, let me talk about my jewelry momentarily. So these are some beaded earrings that I made a long, long time ago. You guys haven't seen them in a long time. I think you've seen them before, though. Let me see if I can get it shown. So yeah, I used to do a lot of beadwork like that. And then the necklaces are two. So this is the one that I made yesterday. It's like a hematite chain with this like moon thing hanging from it. And then this one is just like J. Crew or something. It's like sapphire blue and silver, probably sterling silver, but probably just glass, not sapphire. Those are too big and too many of them. It wasn't like $1 million or anything. But yeah, I'm totally into this hematite necklace that I made yesterday. I showed it to you guys yesterday. It's my latest and greatest and completely unlike anything I've ever made. And I love it. That's why I was looking up crystal caves this morning, because I'm like, hematite, it's got to be like the strongest semi-precious gemstone around. I know titanium is the strongest metal, I believe, but I bet hematite's the strongest stone. Because if it wasn't, I would have been like chipping it and breaking it when I was making the necklace, because it was really hard to make it. And I was not giving up. Not giving up. I'm like the not giving up kind of person, especially when it comes to jewelry. I will take hours and hours and hours before I give up. So if I give up, I usually won't. I just can't. I'm like a pit bull. Hannah was traveling with a boyfriend and a couple. I've not paid attention. Granny Annie, initially it was that she was traveling with her ex-boyfriend. No, initially it was that she was just traveling. Then it was like, oh, her ex-boyfriend was on the plane. Oh, well, they had already bought the tickets and then they broke up. And so they weren't riding the airplane together. They were sitting separately. Then it turns out that they were riding together. Again, I put the itinerary in my thumbnail of yesterday's video. They were riding with one empty seat between them. Turns out her husband was in the empty seat between them. So she's sitting next to her husband, who's sitting next to her ex-boyfriend. And then it's been confirmed from a number of sources that Mariana was also on that plane, but she's not on the itinerary that is being distributed to the public. I think they don't want anyone to know her last name. I think she's just being protected. She's probably got family connections with people in high places or something. And then, so her ex-boyfriend's sitting on the other side of her husband, and then her ex-boyfriend's wife is also on the plane, who is the girlfriend of her husband. Does that make sense? Thought it didn't, right? It is for protection from negative people. Oh, the hematite. Thank you for the compliment, Annabise. I love hematite. I love the color of the steely gray, and it's like charcoal gray, because black is my favorite color, in case you couldn't tell. And then I really like greenish blues, and I really like grayish greenish blues, like natural, like stone colors and stuff. Anyway, I'm wrapping it up like I keep saying I'm going to. Thanks again for being here, and have a great afternoon. Stay hydrated, eat your protein and your fruits and veggies, and hopefully we can all get together again tomorrow and the next day. And then we'll see what happens the day after that. Weekends are always super challenging. Anyway, love and light. You guys mean the world to me. I appreciate you so much.